All right, so I think we can continue. Remember yesterday we looked at Excel basic data cleaning formulas. So what eventually happens when they ask you to clean up the data, especially if there's a criteria, right? So in a class, they ask you to write the name of the boys, but the names of the boys you write is only those that their names start with what? M. So the criteria here is the what? Their name must start with what? An M. So in this, we have a table, a database, and the database is much, I think up to how many? So I think up to 150. Then you have the different columns, ship mode, quantity, sales, and all that. But here, they want to find out something. Instruction, use a function to find out the number of times each segment appears in the database. So what is the segment? Segment is like the header of a particular column. So you have consumer, consumer, corporate, consumer, consumer, consumer. It's just like probably somebody having in election, you have what are the parties now? APC, PDP, and you have maybe 50 votes. And they now ask you, okay, find out the number of times that PDP was voted for and all that. So I'm going to find out using an Excel function to find out how many times consumer appears here. Okay, how many times corporate appears here. It's okay, corporate appears here. How many times home office appears here. All right, so anyone we are finding how many times it appears, that would be our criteria for that particular instance. Does that make sense? So without wasting much time, let us attack the problem at hand. So segment, you have segments this, and you have number of times this. The Excel function that we can use to achieve this is the SUMIF function. All right, so the Countif function. The Countif function is such that it counts the total number of outcomes, but in such a way that it returns a particular value based on the criteria that is what selected. Very, very easy. So just like the count functions, but the Countif functions is a count function with a criteria, as easy as that. Remember, I told you don't have to cram any of this. Okay, it will come to you naturally with constant practice. Constant practice. Excel is all about practice. I pity those that actually they'll be given materials to read. You don't read these things, you practice it. Even if you read, let there be what's a practical session. Let there be some kind of files that you're given to work with to actually understand what you are reading. Hope that is clear. So equal to count if. So yesterday we saw how we could use count. We saw how we could use count A. We saw how we could use count blank. Now we are looking at what count if. Eventually, if we go more advanced than this, eventually, okay, but I doubt that, but we'll look at count if for this class. Now they ask you for the range. Please always take note of the arguments for these particular functions. You notice that after a particular thing is done, Excel will now tell you, okay, enter range. After you enter range, you now put in your comma. They now ask you to put in what? Criteria. All right, so take note. It's very, very important to understand this. So the range, you notice that what? The range is under the segment column, and the criteria in this case is what? Consumer. Eventually, when we come down, the criteria will now be what? Corporate. Eventually, the third one, the criteria will now be what? Home office. Don't worry, we are taking it one step at a time. So count if the range will now be what? Under segment, you now select this, just click on the first cell. Is okay. Then drag down all the way to what? The last cell. But dragging down all the way to the last cell will actually take our time. And remember what I keep on preaching. You don't have all the whole time to be doing all these things. Is that okay? So it will be easier for you to do what? Select the first cell on your keyboard. If you're using a PC, hold down Control, Shift, and the down arrow key, and it will select everything in that particular column for you. Is that okay? Hold down Control, Shift, and the down arrow key. What I did, select the first cell in that particular column that I want to select, hold down Control, Shift, and the down arrow key. All right. So hope I'm permitted. There's actually a YouTube channel where I teach you all these things. It's okay as far as keyboard shortcuts is concerned. Hope my honorable might relate that to you eventually. So after you've done this, you can hit what? Comma. Now, when you hit comma, you notice that the next syntax that I need to fulfill is the criteria. Okay. Now, if I remove comma, you notice that I'm still under to fill the range criteria. So the one that I am actually working on is the one that is in bold, or that kind of is bolded. So I hit comma, and to ask me, what is the criteria for this counting that you're doing? What is the criteria? So I cannot try to be counting the number of times that consumer appears and I'll be using corporate as my criteria. No, it's okay. So there are two ways to achieve this. It's either I click on the cell to tell Excel, okay, the criteria is on cell L17, and I close it up and I hit enter to get my answer, or I'll do it some other way. But doing it this way, what this means is that what consumer appears 94 times in this whole column. Is that okay? If you remember, just look at where my mouse is. The total number of guys here is 149. Can you see that? Okay, but consumer out of that 149 is appearing how many times? 96, 94 times. So that's what the Countif does for us. So I'm going to do that again. Then I'm going to show us the second method to achieve the same answer. So I'm going to hit delete, and we're going to go through it again. So equal to Countif. All right. So the range. Please, when they say range, always take note of the column where that particular data is. They cannot be asking for range and I come under states and start selecting set of data. It will not make sense, okay? Because state is on a different level. So I cannot be looking for range and I come under region to come and start selecting my set of data. The range or where this particular consumer is under the segment column. So my range must be within this place. So, and I told her that it's not nice for us to just start dragging down. It will waste our time, even though you cannot notice it, but eventually it will waste your time in the long run. Why don't you use the shortcut key, Control-Shift, and then your down arrow key, and it will select everything for you within that particular column. Then you now hit comma. So for the criteria, you now select the cell where the criteria is, which is consumer. Then you now close up your bracket and hit enter. And to show you that the consumer is appearing 94 times out of 146 records. So for those that are asking, okay, what is the second method? I always don't like mentioning the second method because it's a little bit longer, but I'll say it all the way, all the same. So equal to Countif is okay. So Countif. So the range, I'll still select this range, Control-Shift, down arrow key to select everything for me. And I hit comma to go to criteria. So here is the difference. In the criteria, you type in the criteria, but you must include it in speech marks. Okay, because when you just type in a word in a formula within Excel, it will not recognize it. Is that okay? So the speech mark must be double speech marks. Is that okay? So open speech mark, type in the criteria as it is on the table. So you must type in the capital letter CONSUMER, then close it up with the same double speech marks. Then close up your bracket and hit enter. And you should arrive at the same answer. Is that okay? Now notice what will happen if I don't put my speech marks. Notice what will happen if I don't put my speech marks. Remember, we are still in the first one and we are trying to summarize this set of data, and it's one of the powerful Excel skills that I can have. So equal to, I want us to see what will happen if we don't put the speech marks. So equal to Countif. All right. So the range still remains this. Control-Shift, your down arrow keys. All right. So you don't press it at once. You just press Control, hold it down, then Shift, hold it down, then now press your down arrow key. And you notice that you get what you are looking for. So you now hit comma. So if you eventually don't include the speech marks, look at what will happen. I type in consumer and I close up my brackets and I hit enter. It will show you what? 0, because Excel does not even recognize what consumer is. All right. So what if I put it in speech marks, but my C is small letter? That is to show you that you must pay attention to details if you are a data analyst. Okay, but my C is small letter. All right, and I hit enter. Look at what happens. It's actually shown us the correct answer. All right, so, but just try as much as possible to put in the data as it is on the table. So instead of coming here to do for these other ones, you can just double click here, just like we've seen before, and we should see the number of times these other ones appear on the table. Is that okay? So if you want to verify, you can just find the sum of everything here, and it should be good to go. Suppose you want to find the sum, just put auto sum here and to sum up everything. All right, so there are a whole lot of things. We cannot learn everything into this. So just put auto sum to show you 149. All right, all right. Are we following? If we're following, just type yes, yes. Let us continue from where we stop, please. I'm going to be giving this workbook to you guys, so you can actually try to do the Countif for this. It's very easy, just like we did for this other one. So just do the Countif for this. In this case, your column, your range will be what? Under states. All right, under states. Then your criteria for each will be this. So if you can do the first one, you can replicate downwards and you should get your answer. It's all right. So Excel data summary function, Countif. We now go to the second data summary function, which is the what? SUMIF. Is that right? So here we have the sets, the same set of data, and we are asked to use what? Excel data summary function SUMIF. Use an Excel function to find out the total sales made in each state. Is that okay? So supposing you now have, you can mute on mic, please. Supposing we have this state, Kentucky, California, and we have all these sales made under them. So we can actually use an Excel formula to find out how many sales was made for this particular state, how many sales was made in Florida, how many sales was made in California. So what Excel function can you use? You can use the SUMIF function. So how do we achieve that? If for every problem you use a function, or your ability to use a function is what actually matters, but don't cram the formula at any time. So use the word SUMIF function. Remember, under SUMIF, we have SUMIF, sum products, blah, 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 and all that. So SUMIF is what we're using here. So the range is what? Under states column. So you just select the first guy. You can drag down if you want to do that, but we will use what? Control Shift and the down arrow key, and we will select all that. So you can now hit your comma. So after your comma, the next thing that you want to do what? Fulfill is the criteria. So the criteria is what? Kentucky. So if you don't want to select the cell, but you can just type in the Kentucky and include it into what? Speech marks. So after you've done that, you hit what? Comma. So the next thing you must fulfill is what? Sum range. They say what? From here, they say what? Total sales. So your sum range will be in the column what? Sales. Does that make sense? So there's two range here, the range and the sum range. The sum range, let me tell you a secret, the sum range is always a numeric what? Data. The sum range is always a numeric what? Data. Is that okay? All right, so having said that, you now select this and you hit Control, Shift, and your down arrow key to select your sum range. So once you have completed that, you close up your bracket and you hit Enter. Now, what this is trying to tell you that the total sales, supposing for Kentucky made a sale in this particular state of what? $261. Here is what? $261. So if you calculate the total number of times that Kentucky appears on this table, the total number of sales that Kentucky have made is what? 993. That is just the simple English of what SUMIF does. Okay, but it will be more taxing for us to start checking. Okay, Kentucky, okay, this is Kentucky. Is there any other place that Kentucky appears in this table? No. Okay, so just come and put it here for Christ's sake. Huh? So it will not help us. So that's why we're using what? SUMIF. So you can do for California, but in case you don't want to go through all those stress, you can just do what? Replicate, and it will fill it up for you. Okay, if you want to still, let me just show us one quick thing that we can do, and it's very easy. So if you want to just kind of preview this in a more pictorial form, you can just click this little box that's at the end here. Okay, but before you fill it, you just select the cell. Once you selected a cell, this box that says what? Quick analysis tool. So just select the cell and you hit your quick analysis tool, and you can like have a pictorial view of the highest number, either using icon sets greater than, you know. So just for some of us that are wondering how all these things can be achieved, it's very easy, you know. So what you don't know, but you don't know that it's actually very easy to do all these things. So can we go to the next SUMIF so that we can just understand vividly how it works? But if this is clear, let us know so that we can move ahead. All right, if this is clear, let us know. Is this clear? Is this clear how to use SUMIF, or should we do it again? There's actually another example, I think, under SUMIF. Yes, there's another example under SUMIF that we can do. So if this is clear, let us.
Hello.
Yeah, good day to you.
Yeah, good evening. I just wanted to ask, I'm sure we're going to get these lectures, right? At the end of the day, so we could refer to it during our own practice time.
By the lectures, you mean this particular workbook, right? The spreadsheet.
The workbook, yes, and even this video. I think you're recording it now, so we can watch
sure.
over and again.
Yeah, sure.
Please. Yesterday, I asked for yesterday's one. I didn't get. I wanted to go through it before day, but I couldn't see. I didn't see it on the platform, so that's what I'm asking. I hope we'll get it.
Yeah, you get it, but you also arrange with your honorable to make that available to you, because I don't have direct contact with you guys. Is that okay?
Okay, that's fine. That's fine by me.
All right. So any other question? Sir, I will appreciate if you can go over it. My network became a challenge at some point, so we'll actually go through it, but that will be with another example. Is that okay? It's still the same thing that we'll do. Now, SUMIF is very easy. All right, so SUMIF. Or should we use the same? Should we use the same one? Should we use the same one, or should we use this one? It's still the same thing. Okay, let me just use. Let me use the same one, so that's what I've said. It will still be as I'm repeating myself. So I'm going to clear this. Okay, so we are going to clean up this data using one of the data cleaning skills that we learned. So you just clear it. I'm just going to clear every content. All right, so SUMIF, essentially SUMIF means what? Summing up the total number of outcomes using a particular criteria. All right, so it can always be used. Supposing I want to know, okay, now in the banking sector, we have 3 marketers. Mary, who now? Zainab, and who? Shola. Now they work for a particular bank, but they cover like the 36 states. Is that making sense? So these 3 people, they cover the 36 states. Probably in a month, maybe Mary has made maybe 500K for Abia, for one other state like that. So But instead of probably going through it one at a time to find out the total number of sales that Mary has made, or Zainab has made, or Shala has made, you can always use a SUMIF function to do that. It's all right. It's very simple. So, but here we have a table. I want to find out, okay, how many sales has been made in this particular state. All right. First of all, you must understand that we have different columns representing the different data. That's why this data, if you are doing a data, arranging it is very, very important. If it's not arranged the way we want it, it's as good as, supposing I want to move these states from this particular column, and I want to move it maybe to the very beginning. So what I need to do is to come to this very beginning where I want to put these states, create a new column. So I'll just select A and right click, then hit insert, and it will insert a new column where I want to put this data. So I'll just select the states again, Control X, we'll cut it off from here, or I'll just copy it, Control C. I'll come to where I want to paste it and I'll paste it. It's as good as that. Then I can just resize it accordingly to suit my need. Is that okay? So depending on what I want to achieve. That's why I say sometimes there are some things that no one has to actually tell you. Okay, but it takes time though. But that notwithstanding, it is something that is achievable. Is okay. So SUMIF, to find the SUMIF for this, all right, so we are doing was trying to summarize this data. That is our aim eventually. So you start with what equal to SUMIF, and you now go ahead to do what, select it, and it tells you to do what is the range of the data that you want to do what, find the SUMIF. Is okay. So I can just come here and select this as my range, but that does not represent the whole table. I must select everything under this column to have something that is correct, or is close to the answer. In fact, correct. So how do I achieve that? I told us that dragging it down will waste our time, but instead of dragging it down, we use what? Control Shift, a keyboard shortcut, Control Shift, your down arrow key, and to select everything under that column. So you hit comma. So Excel now asks you, what is the criteria? What is the criteria? So the criteria is Kentucky. But if you don't want to select this cell, if you want to go longer, you can just put Kentucky in speech marks. So but I'm going to select Kentucky, which is M16. I hit comma. So every particular syntax that if you feel, you hit comma to go to the next one. So what is the sum range? So the sum range, I told us that what sum range is always numeric data. So you select the first cell, you hold down Control Shift and your down arrow key to select everything. Then you now close up your bracket. So why am I closing up this bracket? Because there's an opening bracket here. All right. So I close up my bracket and I hit what? Enter. And it should be able to do what? Give me that data as it is. It's okay. Now remember, before now I have what? Please mute your mic. Thank you. So notice that before now I have a $sign in front of this, but remember we cleared all formatting in this particular table, in this particular range of cells. Please mute your mic, mute your mic. All right, so once you've done that, it's very easy to add this $sign. You just come here, either add it here or come down to where you have general, click on it, and you should select currency. So once you click on currency, it will be added for you. So since we'll be able to find the SUMIF for all the sales made in Kentucky State, you can just do for the second one, do for the third one, but to still waste our time. So Excel made it easy, so you can just replicate. It's okay. So there are some other examples that will warrant us to either apply absolute cell referencing, but that is beyond us as far as this class is concerned. So you just do the SUMIF and you're good to go. Is that clear? Before we do the last one, please don't mind me. I like feedbacks. Is that okay? I cannot just keep on talking. I like feedbacks. Very important. All right, so Joyce said clear. All right, so now go to the next example under SUMIF. So I'm going to leave this one for you to do. So you are going to find the total sales made by each of these customers, just like I was using Zainab as an example for the different states and all that. So here the criteria will be what? This particular name, the range will be this one. All right, then the criteria will be this, then the sum range will be this. Is all right? Very easy. So for the last one now, so use an Excel function to find out the quantity sold in each subcategory. So under this subcategory, we have bookcases, we have chairs, labels, but we want to find out the quantity that is sold for chairs. But remember that chairs is appearing more than one places. Phones is appearing more than one places. So storage is appearing more than one places, okay? So it mustn't always be what? Maybe like currency. It can be what? Something that has to do with what? Quantity. So how do you achieve this now? So equal to, just like we saw before, SUMIF, right? Then the range is what? Under what column is bookcases? Under the subcategory column. So it's like the first one, Control Shift down key, and you hit what? Comma to go to the next one. And you should be able to do what? See what is the criteria? The criteria is what? Bookcases L17, comma. The sum range is what? The sum range is not under sales now, but under what? Quantity. Because we're not talking about the amount sold, but what quantity sold. It's okay. From the English self, you understand. So the sum range is now under this quantity column. Hold down your Control Shift and your down arrow key to select everything, and you should be good to go. So once you've done that, you just close up your bracket and you hit what? Enter. So the quantity sold as far as bookcases is concerned is just 12. So to find out the number of copies sold for the other items in the subcategory, I'll just double click here. So you notice that you have what? 34 for chairs, 48, 68, and all that. Just like we saw before now, you can just have a pictorial view of everything. Just select the whole cell, come to this, what is it called? Quick analysis, whatever. Then select maybe anyone that I want to use to represent it. But I like using this to just kind of a graph. From here, I can usually see that since 6 is the highest and all that. So, guys, that that brings us to the end of this class. Hope you've gotten value. Hope it was worth it. All right. So, if you have any question, let us know. We have 5 minutes before Zoom tells us that we are using the free Zoom version again. So I remain Onuzurike Chukwagosi. I'm a Microsoft Excel expert. I do trainings like this, and I met my high chief in one of the many trainings, and we think it fits also give you the same value. All right, thank you. It's nice having this class. Thank you. If you have any question for me, let me know. Else we end this class, and that is it.
Hello, sir.
How with you?
Yeah, thank you for the knowledge impartation. It was worth it, and I suppose that this is a bit basic, right? There might be advanced or something classes that you also do. Maybe we should be talking with Honorable, but it's like Honorable is also in the class. Perhaps he could also answer this instead of a different conversation.
Yeah,
Honorable, sir.
Everything is under Honorable's hand.
In case there's an advanced class, yes, because this is quite an eye-opener, and I'm sure that there's more that one can do. And this one has learned 1 or 2 things here now.
All right, thank you very much. Okay.
There's more that we can do if there's an advanced class. Honorable, sir, over.
Yes, thank you very much.
There are advanced classes around this area. The concept around here is to see how a number of us can get digital skills, since there are no jobs or offices you can walk in to get these skills. And from the beginning of the class yesterday, Our brother and friend mentioned Upwork, mentioned freelance, Favor, some of those platforms where you can land, remote jobs. Since COVID-19 came, a lot of people are now, offices were closed and work needed to continue. And because of that, there are every need for us to get digital skills so that we'll become more relevant in the 21st century. And imagine that the time the dollar rose to 700 plus, you were earning in dollars, or you had some dollars and you were able to change it at that point. So those are some of the inspirations behind organizing these classes, to see how a number of our young people particularly can lay their hands on digital skills. And one of those very sorted after digital skills is what we are learning now.
So there are going to be other classes that are going to come up to see how we can land jobs in Newark,
Favor, freelance. So keep us posted. Thank you.
Honorable sir, I also asked if we can get the lectures so that we can
very well. No, that
use it to
that was
rehearse
sorted out
over
this
the game.
night. That
To be sorted out.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
Over to you, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable. I'm super excited that some people actually want to get more from this. Okay, so it can only get better. Our awareness can only put more money to our pocket. That's just what I believe. Okay, and our Honorable has my contacts, and I believe we are in the same group.
Okay,
so
I've actually added you to the group.
yeah.
I've
Actually added it to the group, and
so what I'm going to do is these particular classes, we are going to be putting it on our YouTube channel. So he's going to share the link with you guys, but I just have to work on the video before I upload it. All right, because
I think I should I will upload what has already been done.
Okay, awesome.
Right? Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'll upload
not necessarily this one because of network issues and all of that.
It's all right. It's all right then. It's all right.
Fine.
I appreciate that. So thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate you. I love you guys.